Hi everyone, welcome to my channel where I discuss all things human design. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about pure generators. Now, some of you may already be familiar with the term generator in human design, and that generators actually make up 70% of the population. However, there's an important distinction to make between pure generators and manifesting generators. In the next video, I'm going to be discussing manifesting generators. So if you're interested in learning about manifesting generators, make sure to hit the subscribe button to be notified when that video comes out. If you're a generator, let me know in the comments below. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, I've left a few different links to various resources where you can find out your human design type for free. So check the description box for that. And let me know in the comments what you found out about your human design type. If you have already seen my video on Manifest a Real Talk, then you already know that the purpose of this video is to have a real conversation about generators. It's going to be very similar to my Real Talk Manifestor video, but I'll be focusing on generators and trying my best to give real life examples of what it means to show up as a generator with this human design type. Just like last time, I'm also going to start off with a few basic facts to get everyone grounded and in the know about the generator type, and then I'll be moving on to really get into the nitty-gritty and give you guys some real-life examples. I already mentioned that generators make up 70% of the population, and from this 70%, 30% are pure generators. Generators have the strategy to respond and the not-self theme of frustration. Their signature is satisfaction, and they're one of two energy types that actually create their own energy. And lastly, unlike the manifestor with a selective aura, generators actually have what's called an open aura, and I'll get more into that as I go along in this video. Each human design type has its own unique set of strategy, not self-theme, and signature. And so for generator energy, this includes manifesting generators as well, they have the strategy to respond and the not self-theme of frustration. So what does this actually mean? What does it mean to respond? We learned in the previous video on manifestors that their strategy was to initiate. And so generators are here to respond to different things that come up in front of them. So it's very different than the manifestor energy. And some examples are kind of, when we're hit with a decision, generators are here to respond to the decision. Maybe they're not necessarily going to be initiating as regularly as manifestors. This does not mean that generators cannot initiate or start a project or start something on their own, but their strategy, the way that they navigate their human design type, is to respond. Let me give some examples. If, for example, you are a generator and someone asks you, what do you want to do today? Where do you want to go? What do you feel like eating? As a generator, naturally, these are actually quite difficult questions to answer because generators are set up to respond, and response happens with the binary yes or no. And we're going to speak about that in a second, but just to get that clear, it's always really funny when I'm speaking to a generator and they're getting upset or frustrated, which is their not self-theme, when they can't come to a solution or an answer around an open-ended question. Generator energy is really good at the yes or no. For example, if you ask a generator, do you want to go outside? They will literally feel in their gut a yes or a no. If you ask a generator, what do you want to do today? They might respond that they don't care. And it doesn't mean that they don't care about you or what they're going to be doing today. It's just that their design type really responds to the yes or no. If you ask a generator, do you want pizza? It will either be a yes or no. They really have that firm, quick ability to hone in on a decision and have that feeling. But when you ask a generator, what do you want to eat today? They might again say they don't care, or they might, have all these different ideas, but it will be really hard for them to come up with a definitive answer. And this for me was huge to learn about in human design, because again, life brings us all these open-ended questions, and sometimes we don't even realize how often we try to respond to something that is actually difficult for our design to answer. And this is when I start to get into how we can tap into the other energy types to help us. While I don't have a video yet on projectors, and I will be coming out with a video soon, a good example of this was a time where I had this overwhelming schedule and I didn't know how to navigate it. I had agreed to too much, which is a big part of the generator conditioning that I'm going to be speaking about. And I felt really overwhelmed. I was getting to that borderline frustration where I just wanted to shut everything out, when I invited, which is the strategy for a projector to wait for that invitation, I invited my girlfriend to help me navigate my schedule. And she introduced me to block scheduling. And through that, I was able to create a schedule that made more sense for myself and allowed me to respond to, is this a yes or is this a no? Which days do I want to take meetings? Which days do I want to do content work? This is just one example of many that I'm about to reveal in this video of what it's like to be a generator. This is actually so crucial just to think about when we look at communication, even in the workplace, when we think about all those times we're asked, what do you think about this program? What do you think about this event for the company? What do you think about this project? And again, the generator is sitting there with all these ideas and no direction. But if they were asked, the simple, well, should we do this or should we do that? Or if as a generator, you're able to break down those open-ended questions into yes, no, then you're really able to come across and get to your decisions faster. The best way to get back to the idea of strategy and what it means to respond is to think about food. I always use food as an example because food is something that we all can relate to. If you love mango and someone asks you if you want mango, then you're super excited. You really feel that yes, you're like, yes, I really want a mango. Versus if someone offers you parsley and you don't love parsley and they put it in front of you, you immediately feel that no. And I know that I'm super digging into this topic around what it is to respond, but I think it's super important. And as a generator, naturally, I could not decide how to consolidate this. I just wanted to share as much as possible and give as many examples really on what it is to respond. When we respond to something that is maybe a no, or that we're not really excited by, but we say yes to it anyways, we start to feel that not self theme of frustration. Only generator energy will feel frustration. We learned in the last video that manifestors feel anger, and frustration is sort of the indication from the universe for a generator to really think about where did they agree to something that maybe should have been a no. This happens so often because the conditioning of a generator is to people please and to always show up. And so often generators don't put up those boundaries and they end up showing up for others and putting themselves last. Think about the things in your life that feel like a no, that feel like that food that you don't really like, and start to say no to them to allow more room for yes to fall in. As you do this, you'll get to your signature. So as I mentioned, the signature of generators is satisfaction. And that is how a generator feels. They feel satisfied when things are complete. An example of this, I recently was moving and I have a projector partner, and my projector partner wanted to take things slow. They wanted to, methodically every day build a different part of the furniture, lay everything out one by one. As a generator, I knew that by building all of this furniture and getting it all done and in place in one day and just focusing and working for 12 hours straight, building everything, that I would feel very satisfied at the end of the day, and I would not have the distraction of this sort of open-ended question mark of things in the background while I'm trying to do work. This is just another fundamental example of how different the generator energy really is from the other energy types. The non-energy types, manifestors, projectors, and reflectors, actually get their energy from generators. And so it's so important that generators focus on this and really focus on where are they saying yes to things that are really yeses, and where are they agreeing to things that maybe are not a super yes. They might even be a maybe. I always try to remind generators that if something is a maybe, still say no, because the universe will always have a way to come back and see if you really want to say yes again to that situation. I have practiced this several times in my life, and it's something that always comes up because generators just naturally give. And when they start to show up for themselves and start to only respond to what feels like a yes, then they end up creating more energy, which they can use both for themselves as well as their environment. The last thing I want to touch on about generators is that they actually have what's called an open aura, which means that generators have the ability to really connect with anyone in their surroundings. They sort of are able to tap into the energy of others or give energy to others. And with this, they have to be really careful about who may or may not be using their energy, even in an unconscious way. Sometimes generators might agree to help a friend move, and that friend doesn't even realize that they're abusing the energy of their generator friend because their friend has agreed to it. They responded, they said yes. But inside, the generator might be feeling frustrated, and eventually that frustration is going to come out in some form. So again, super important to really focus on the fundamentals of responding. Does it feel like a yes or a no? And the not self theme. Where is frustration showing up in your life, and how can you say no to allow more yes to come in? And then really reveling in the satisfaction, understanding that the universe has provided in a way that makes you feel most satisfied and not feeling guilty about it. A lot of times, generator energy will have these feelings of to show up for others and put themselves last. And I'm just here to remind you that that is absolutely not the case. In general, for anybody watching, I want to remind you that the more you focus on yourself and your energy and your strategy, and you follow the themes when you're not necessarily feeling in alignment, the more you're able to provide for others. The more focus you bring to yourself, the more love you're able to put out in the universe, the more alignment you're able to create for the greater collective. And that, I think, is really what lights me up so much about human design. So if you enjoyed this video and you want to be notified each time I come out with a new one, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I put out new videos twice a week, and I'm here for all your human design questions. And I appreciate so much the time you've taken to check out this video.